A very good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome again. Now it's the last class for the qualitative response models. Although there are so many other models which are quite important in this particular category, but due to time constraint, this particular series now I am restricted to only these basic models of qualitative response models. So today I'll try to wind up these things and give you a few summary about these models so that in future whenever you apply any one of these models, so at least you have some idea that what content you have to read and what are the parts that you have to put focus. Okay, so last part in this category I have kept for this particular series, this Tobit regression. This particular regression is about censored data. When you have some particular restriction in the data, then you can use this MLE method, although it's not a like purely qualitative case, it's a quantitative case independent variable, and it's not a like other this probit and logit models qualitative variables where we have a categories. It's not that particular case, but indirectly we are using that particular methodology of MLE in this Tobit models. So first, let me introduce with this particular case that what this Tobit model is all about and how we estimate the results and how we interpret the results. So before that, let me give you this particular chart. In case of okay, qualitative dependent variables. These are the basic models that we generally use: logit, probit. Then, with same methodology, we use ordered logit and ordered probit model. Then multinomial logit and multinomial probit model. After that, we have one unique situation, that is censored data, or we say truncated case. Where we use Tobit model. Plus, but it's not this qualitative response models will not end here. There are other models like count data. And then, yeah, with these models, it's not only the individual cases, but the group data as well. So we have a group logit, group probit model, then count data models, then two new fields in this particular dimension, which are evolving in last, I think, 10, 15 years. This discrete choice model. This is applied microeconometrics. where we try to maximize the utility. We can use this logit probit methodology, this multinomial and multinomial probit methodology in discrete choice models. This is a new evolving field. I have no idea so far that how many universities in India they are teaching these models in applied microeconometrics. But now Stata also have this new features in Stata 16, these discrete choice models. They are utility maximization cases. So far we have covered this particular part with individual case, not with a grouped case. That's quite different data sets when we have some data in district wise and state wise. That's a different type of variable where we have to apply this methodology indirectly. So today I'll try to summarize this Tobit model and give you this brief idea about these models so that maybe in future you want to learn or you may want to apply these models, you can apply that. I'm going to take these models not in even an upcoming series, but maybe in second or last series of next year, where I'm going to add these models as well in the qualitative response models, because they are quite important, especially in medical sciences and commerce field, where choice of preferences about the customers we study. These discrete choice models are quite important. So the advantage for all of you is that once you understand the methodology, MLE methodology, then you have access to all these models. Generally, we apply OLS, right? But these are the cases where only MLE is applicable. And not only in these cases, but all the other cases where this non-linearity is the problem, MLE is the solution. So now you can understand that how important this MLE methodology is. We can apply in n number of models this MLE. Now these models you can use in labor economics, then consumer choices, preference studies, then this grouped cases in medical sciences as well. Although you can apply any of these in a medical sciences, then in rare events cases, there are so many applied parts for these particular models where we can apply with the MLE models. So these are nowadays, but yes, as I'm telling you that only few of the universities are teaching these specific applied courses. So they are quite expensive. If you, anytime you have this choice, an opportunity to attend any workshop for these particular models, then just try to see their prices. They are charging quite high. Even I think for 1 week, they are charging around 15 to 20,000 for 7 to 8 hours. Okay, so first, just before this Tobit case, give you this some idea that what these two other cases are, but these choice models. Methodology is same, this MLE process, but yes, the equations of MLE will change. So far now you have studied, I tried to cover this logit probit. So you have some idea that what this MLE is doing in all these cases. Generally, the part is here that we are not applying OLS, we are applying MLE. Now MLE is in probability form. So in all these cases, we are applying this joint probability density function. But all the cases, equation is different. I'm just giving this example that for this CDF logistic function, the equation was in this particular form. For probit model, the equation was, I'm just writing in this particular form, right? I don't remember this formula, but this equation is different for probit model. This is for the logit model. Similarly, for count data, the Poisson distribution equation we will use. That's a different equation. So only equational form is going to change based upon the distribution, that which distribution we are trying to apply. But since in all these cases, parameters are non-linear, so OLS is not applicable. So we are taking help of MLE methodology. So any of these models we will study, the process is just MLE process, this iteration process that I had explained you. That process they are going to use. Other things are remain same. Means once you have this joint probability density function, this log likelihood function, then next step is that we try to maximize that function, and from there we estimate the parameters with iteration process. So even if now if you have some basic idea about the MLE, you can work with any of these models. So this is now you have this access to all these content. Is definitely you need some study material and how these estimations are, what are the reasons behind. But if you can study these things, then you have access to even applied microeconometrics as well. So I'm just giving these choice models are like, let's suppose these three examples. Individuals choose their favorite breakfast cereal. Companies choose whether to use TV, online, or print advertising. So which choice consumer prefer? So based upon that, which are most suitable preferences, definitely company these answers. Travel choose whether to take a car, airplane, or train. So these are the choice models here with the utility maximization process. Now Stata 16 has added all these models in the Stata, all the choice models. Generally, these are the choice models now we have in the Stata. Choice model for ordered logit model, rank ordered logit model, then multinomial probit model, then panel data mixed logit model, mixed logit model, conditional logit model. These are the models for choice modeling. So far I have a constant, so I'll add next year this part as well in the content because they're really useful and interesting part, especially in microeconometrics, choice preferences. But the methodology is same, MLE, and now you can see probit and logit. These two distribution functions nowadays we are using for choice modeling. Then this count function. Even in count function, there are so many models. Yeah, these are the models with the count function. Poisson regression, then negative binomial regression, zero inflated count models, zero truncated count models, hurdle models, random effect count models. So just take example. For example, I'm just giving you some idea so that at least you have this idea that we can apply logit and probit methodology to n number of models, and there are so many other fields where you can apply these methodologies. Just take this example. Yeah, this one. Some of the mechanisms to deal with the fact that counts can be made over different observation periods. For example, the number of accidents are recorded for 50 different intersections. However, the number of vehicles that pass through the intersections can vary greatly. 15 accidents for 30,000 vehicles is very different from 15 accidents for 1,500 vehicles. Count models account for these differences by including the log of the exposure variable in the model with coefficient constantly to be 1. Then the cases where you have this negative binomial distributions. For example, if there is example here, yeah, this one. It seems very appropriate to discuss fish and poison in the same example. The response model is the number of fish caught by visitors to a state park. The predictors is child, number of children in group camper, camping one or more nights during stay, number of people in the group. These are the independent variables. So in our example, true zeros are obtained from people who fish but do not catch anything. Then the next case, the excess zeros come from those who do not fish at all. So this is just an example, this count examples, where you have some frequency. This Poisson distribution, if you remember, we study generally these three distributions: normal, binomial, and Poisson distribution. These count models are either based upon binomial distribution or Poisson distribution. If there are rare events, like we study this Poisson distribution, but that is out of some fraction, then you can apply this count models. Again, they use this MLE methodology. So these are the other dimensions where you can study this MLE methodology, and these are the basic models we can apply for these cases. So these are the other two fields where you can apply these models. But in economics, if you are doing some studies from agriculture or labor, then they are not applicable. But if you are studying from the market dimensions, or you have some secondary data on different type of transportation models, communications, then incidents, medical sciences, then these are also in health economics, and these models are very important. So for that, you have to go with this methodology. Methodology is same. MLE, just model will differ. Okay, so now come back to this Tobit case. Okay, yes, yesterday we did multinomial logic model. In that case, if you are using multinomial logic model, then OR ratio will not be there, as I was explaining this problem. That OR ratio is something pi by 1 minus pi, right? But in multinomial logic, there are groups, like we have a 4 groups. This comparison is not have or have not. It's not that case. It's comparison, like from reference category to, that was this first category. Then from reference category to next category. Then reference category to last category. These we generally study with relative risk ratios. So these you have to use in multinomial logics if you want to. You can use marginal effects, or you can use relative risk ratios. Means in comparison to that particular group, what are the probabilities or odds of being in that particular category for particular group. So for that, you can use relative risk ratios. That's the difference between simple logic model and multinomial logic model. So then you have to use relative risk ratios. Okay, so yes, this group case, so far we have not studied this case. This is a case when you have not this, like we have individual data 1 and 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. It's like in something, for example, how many individuals have car. Let's suppose I'm taking case of Chandigarh sector wise, from first sector to 10th sector. So it's not a choice that either individual have house or not. It's that out of total individuals in that particular sector, how many have a house. So it is a fractional data, frequency data for all the sectors. In that case, we can't simply apply this have and have nots method of logit and probit model, but then we have to use GL, group logit and group probit model. So if your dependent variable is in this particular form, then don't just apply this particular method. But this is one important difference. Now you can see this is the individual data, right? And this is grouped data. So if you have a grouped data in as a dependent variable, then you don't apply this simple logit and probit. Then you have to apply grouped logit or grouped probit model. So this is another one important thing that you have to keep in mind. Again, now triple R, relative risk ratio, comma, triple R, relative risk ratio. But for that, you have to read some content about relative risk ratio as well, because interpret them accordingly. Okay, so last I'm going to cover in this particular part, this Tobit model. This is different. This is not same. It's not that here the case is like this categorical case. That's not the case. But the thing is that we have some specific range to estimate censored data, then you have to apply Tobit model. Okay, so let's take example with this particular example. They have a data set for students. The dependent variable is this GRE score, and independent variables are GPA, and then this top node. This is some variable. Let's see what this variable is. Yeah, the reputation of the school of an undergraduate, the student's GRE score, and whether or not the student was admitted to graduate school. These are our independent variables, and that we have to see with the GRE. So GPA, then this particular indicator, reputation of the school of the undergraduate, then student's GRE score, and whether or not the student was admitted to graduate school or not. That's for they have a 400 observations, and they only want to run this particular function for those whose GRE is between 200 and 800 only. Means whenever you have this specific uh, situation. Okay, first let me explain you with some graph. Generally, we don't have any restrictions. But if you have some restriction, for example, you only want to test this y-dependent variable for some specific observations or some specific category. For example, we want to only study between this particular range of this independent variable. We don't want to study the relation for this particular range. It might be one-sided, two-sided, that choice is yours. Okay, let's take an example. Income. And education years. But you don't want to study all the education means. Let's suppose it start from illiteracy to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it end nearby 18. You only want to study this relation for individuals whose education level is more than 10. Means only for this particular region. So for these individuals, you don't want to study this particular relation with the income, only for this particular specific range. So your scatter plot will be in this particular range, right? But you simply apply, if you apply a simple OLS, so what problem it will create? Any one of you? That if I have this data, both are the quantity variables, this is income, and this is education in number of years. So if I'll apply a simple OLS in this particular case, what will be the what are the problems that we have to face? Anyone? This is we say this truncated case or this censored data. Omission, no. Anyone else? Any other idea? Ikra, Nikat. It will happen if we apply simple OLS to this particular case. Not pass through means not necessary, may or may not. Yes, definitely not pass through with the mean for this particular, but that's even not necessary. Yes, problem is with the this regression line. The problem is only with the regression line. Let's suppose we applied simple OLS. What OLS will do? Let's suppose we have given this particular data set 0 values. And we run the regression. So regression line, let's suppose that this particular regression line have this particular slope. Although it's not going to be a situation. Regression line will also, in OLS, that will also count these observations, and we will get some regression line more or like in this particular manner. So now you have these two regression lines, right? Now, which one is appropriate? If this is the data, this red one is the appropriate, right? Are you agree with this point that for this particular data set, if it's a positive relation, let's say it's a positive relation, at least line needs to be that representative of this particular data. But this green line, because it will also count this 0 values as well, because we might have given some code to these observations, because we don't want to count these values for our analysis, right? So we must, let's suppose we have given 0 code for these all the values for less than 10. So regression OLS will also count these observations, and it will, so definitely these observations also impact this regression line. So we have some regression line which is at some outers, at downward outer side of this actual data. But that's not a representative of this data set. We have this data set, right? And this particular line is not representative of this data set. So that's the problem with OLS. If we apply simple OLS, so that's the problem. So now what will be the, is it clear? Yeah, that believe this is true, that it might be fact this regression won't pass through the means, specifically this truncated variable, this education. Means for this particular range, now maybe average is somewhere here, and regression line and this particular y variable, average might be somewhere here, right? So for any of these variables, it is possible that regression line might not pass through the averages. So that's the case here. So then what will be the solution? This is the only reason we want to apply OLS method. Although this Hackman procedure, two-step procedure with this inverse Mills ratio, they had given this remedial solution as well for this particular problem. But now since we have all these softwares, so that's not the required, that's unnecessary thing. We can directly apply MLE methodology. So now what do you think, what will be solution for this thing situation? Let's suppose you know both the methods, MLE and OLS. So what do you think now, how we apply any of these methods. Piecewise regression. No. Generally, Niket, piecewise regression is we apply when we have a situation where slope will change. Like let's suppose for this the slope is here and for slope is here. But at least we have observations for this part as well. In truncated case, we are not bothered about this particular range at all. Our focus is on this particular range only. But in piecewise, that's not the case. We have to study both the cases. So this is a different case when we have this censored data case. In these situations, you apply this piecewise linear, piecewise regressions in OLS method with the help of dummy variable. So what this MLE methodology is done that now they make two joint probability density functions for this counted data, and those functions are for greater than specific for this threshold value and less than this threshold level. And like in logit, we are doing simply 1 and 0 case, have and have not. Same for the probit model, only the distributions were differ. Here the thing is same thing we are going to apply in this particular case, that probability range for below this threshold level and after this threshold level. This restriction you can put even on both sides. Let's suppose you only want to study between 10 to 15. So you can also put this restriction on the right hand side as well. That choice is yours. Means in the probit models, you can put any restriction at single side or at both sides. That choice is yours. So with OLS, it was not earlier possible, but now because of MLE, it's possible that we can study these models as well with MLE methodology. Because now what they do is that they make two categories for this omitted case and this case which we want to study. So they make two different functions and then log likelihood of these two joint density distribution functions. And if it's single case, then only two cases we have. So that's we applied probit case with the MLE methodology. So first is let's take example from the Gujarati. Gujarati in this particular basic on matrix, in this chapter they introduced everything, but not in detail at all. Not even a logit model, not even a probit model. Okay, so let's take example from the Gujarati. Yeah, this is the idea that we have some particular range that we want to study. So to exclude the other cases, make two functions, probability for greater than threshold level and less than. And then we make this joint density function and we apply log likelihood case with MLE procedure. Okay, so let's take this example. Dependent variable is number of, this is example from a research paper, I think 1960 something. 1978, yes. This particular researcher want to study. He collected data of 600 men and women, then married for the first time, and analyzed their responses to a question about extramarital affairs. The variables used in this study are defined as follows. Number of affairs in the past year, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 4 to 10. Now this 4 to 10 have one particular range. Then independent variables, gender, male or female. Then number of years married, children, 0 if no children and 1 if children. Religiousness on a scale of 1 to 5. Then education, years, grade school, high school, PhD, and etc. Then occupation, and then self-rating of marriage. In these all the models, Tobit, Logit, Tobit, you don't need to worry about the independent variables. They might be qualitative, quantitative, that's not a problem at all. Only the problem is with the dependent variables. So now how this case is a censored. If we plot the number of affairs on a vertical axis and the education on the horizontal, there will be a 451 observations lying along the axis. As we have a censored sample and the Tobit model may be appropriate. They have this example now. Graph is not here. Now they had applied this ML methodology, maximum likelihood estimation, for individuals, 451 individuals who had no affairs and 150 who had one or more affairs. So we have two different situations, right? If I'll explain you this with a graph, let's take any of these. Okay, let's take this case of any quantitative variable here. No, all are qualitative. It's a case where in case of dependent variable, we have this situation. One, what are the codes? 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. 1, 2, 3, then 4 to 10. Now we have individuals out of this 600 sample size without any extramarital affair, right? And there are individuals with extramarital affair. So nearby 150 individuals have extramarital affair, and there are 451 individuals who don't have any extramarital affair. So we have this censored data because these independent variables are about all these individuals, right? For 601 observations. So if you can do this thing, like you can simply apply this OLS to only these 150 observations, that's a different situation. In that case, you are not counting these individuals who don't have any extramarital affair. So in that case, you can apply, if this is a categorical data, you can apply this multinomial logic and your problem is resolved. But if you want to study these individuals as well in the models, those who won't have any extramarital affair with all these independent variables, then this is a censored case. Means you have a few individuals who won't have that particular thing at all. Like in this case, I am saying that we are not studying these individuals, and there are cases which we are studying. So then you have this truncated and censored data. Then you have to apply Tobit model. Is this situation is clear? That why we are applying this Tobit model in this case. So they applied this Tobit model, I think with eView software, because these results are, yeah, I think from eView software. So then you have you have to apply this Tobit model and you will get the result for all the coefficients. But these results you have to simply interpret as like, yeah, they have given here difference in the estimates. If you apply OLS, then results are totally different. If you apply Tobit model, the results are different. So it means we have to apply. Although it's not a that 100% perfect situation. Means in this case, as I'm telling you, the one choice I have is that I can exclude these 451 individuals and run the regression on 150 individuals only. Then I can apply multinomial logic model because I have this 4 categories. And if they are in order, if you think they are in a order, then I have to apply ordered logit model. But if I think I have to fit all the individuals together, then I have to apply a Tobit model. So again, I'm telling you, you have to confirm these models with some literature in that domain, that whether it is necessary to combine these all together, or we can run only regression on these individuals who have extramarital affair only. So this is the thing means in applied, but there are some subjectivities, but then we have to take some extra support from the literature that which one is appropriate. Like in this case, I am telling you, if it's only a category, then multinomial. If it's an order, then ordered logit. And if you want to work together with this zero case, then you have to apply this Tobit model. For Tobit, in place of probit and logit, now you have to type Tobit model. Let's take example from I'm using one example data set from this data itself. Example data set, there is a one file, auto file. First one, use. Okay, Neha was asking. Anyone, any doubt? Neha, any doubt you have? So in this particular example, I just want to study this weight variable. This example is for the cars. Okay, let's first look upon the data set. These are the models of car, their prices, mileage, then weight, length, turn, displacement, gear ratio, and either it's domestic or foreign. No, Neha, as I'm telling you, these contents is not that I can share at the open source. But yeah, examples I'm taking, these are the same examples. I'll share this PPT. I already shared this particular example for data. Another example which I'm taking, that file, I'll send that file too with you. I'll share that. All the commands are already in this section, and with interpretation. Just go with. I'm doing this same exercise, so just read this interpretation. Similarly, you have your own model. Okay, so yeah, this is our data set. So let's suppose I want to study this relation between mileage and weight of the car, but only a specific range. For example, I want to study only for the relation for those mileage that is greater than 70. You see, if mileage is less than 17, I'll give code 17 to all those and greater than 17. So what I want to study is that relation between weight of the car is weight is in fractions. Let's see. No. Okay. Okay, let's make it some comparable data set. What I want to study is that relation between weight and mileage. But my purpose is that till 17, I am giving code 17 to, let's suppose if any car has a less mileage like 16, 14, 15, I am giving them 17 code. And I just want to study that relationship of the weight after this minimum. For example, in this all the automobile sector, you know that there is some minimum mileage, like in the motorcycles, the in two vehicle cases. If I'll take this, except for this Harley and all, where these engines are heavy, like I think 1000 cc and all, their mileages are low, like I think 18 and 20. Otherwise, there is a minimum. I think nowadays we have a minimum mileage per liter around. I think if this Royal Enfield case we can take. Now I think they also achieved this nearby 25, 30, right? So there is no meaning to study less than that particular threshold level, because that's the minimum level, minimum mileage for all the vehicles. So in that case, we have to study the relation with the other variable, like in this case, weight, like this cars and this even motorcycles, those have this mileages, low mileages. They are really heavy weights because of their heavy engines and metals they have used. Same in the motorcycles and same in the cars. So below that threshold level, there is no meaning to study that. So it's always preferable that study after that particular threshold level. So that's the case of censored and truncated case. So let's suppose I'm taking this 17 as a threshold. So let's suppose I'm taking this cars example. Now in India, I think except for this Fortuner and all these cars, they have this low mileage nearby 9 and 10. Otherwise, all the cars have this mileage between 12 to, I think maximum is 20, 23, 24, 25, something like that. So in that case, there is no meaning that you study that mileage between 0 and 24, because below some threshold level, there are no cars, means except for exceptional cases, most have some is threshold level. So let's suppose I'm taking this threshold level as 10. So if you study this particular relation, then you can't just study these as well, because there are only few cars who have this cases, right? And that's by exception only, that's not a usual case. So the preferable is that you have to study the truncated case, that let's assume that less than 10 is for all the car there is a 10 mileage, and then more than that you want to study with some another variable, like here we are going to study it with the weight of the car. This is generally usually that less uh, more the weight of the particular automobile, less the mileage, because of that heavy engine and all. So let's suppose I want to study as a 17 as a threshold, and with the relation with the weight, so only for this particular range. So for y we have only this specific range, right? For x we have this all the possible values, but for y we have specified one particular range. So as I'm telling you, the only problem in these models is with the dependent variable, not with the independent. So for dependent, now we have only the specific range. So generally, if you observe, okay, let's see any graphical relation is there between weight and mpg first. Okay, so now mileage is more than 17, right? You can see here mileage is more than 17, because I specified that give 17 values for all those who have a less than 17 mileage. This is a truncated case, and this scatter plot, it is visible that possibly it's some negative relation, right? Because this graph is indicating this negative relation. But for this y variable, we have this threshold level. So that's the case of truncated censored case. So if you apply OLS, that's not appropriate here. You have to apply Tobit model. But for Tobit now, we can't apply simple OLS. Means OLS methodology. Now we have to apply MLE methodology. Although in this case, dependent variable is quantitative. It's not categorical. That's why we're applying this Logit and Tobit. It's quantitative only. But due to this restriction, now we have to apply MLE methodology. So for MLE, now in the Tobit model, we have to specify some lower limit. So this is the command for lower limit. Tobit model, my dependent variable, independent comma, then you can specify your lower limit. Let's suppose I'm specifying that 17 is my lower limit. Now this I already specified to this data that gives 17 code for all those who have a less than 17. So now you can see in this MPG variable, there is no value less than 17. But let's suppose you don't want to specify, then other alternative option is that just write with the lower limit your lower limit, and state automatically count that as a lower limit, and it will count 17 value for all those who have a less than 17 mileage. For all the cars, their mileage is less than 17, state I will count as a 17. So then you can specify. Since I already have a 17 in all the cases, so I don't need to specify the lower limit. My lower limit is automatically 17. So with Tobit now, if I enter, now these are the results, MLE methodology. So it will be written here, right? Upper means lower limit we have provided, on upper side there is no limit. So in the left censored, there are 18 observations which have a mileage less than 17. And we have given that a 17 code, and uncensored observations are 56. Total we have a 74. So from the results from this MLE methodology, now we can say is that with 1 unit increase in the weight of car, whatever is the unit, if it's in a thousands, then 1000. Although to make it simple, I made this variable divide by 1000, so I can just compare it in as with single. Although it means is that with the 1000 pounds increase in a weight of car, mileage will decrease by -6. Now this interpretation is same like the OLS. That thing you have to keep in mind. Otherwise, this is the problem in all these models, that not only in methodology, but we need solution for interpretation as well. That's why in all these models, we have to we study two things, right? In all the models, this logit, probit, then ordered logit, ordered probit, multinomial logit, multinomial probit, now Tobit model, and count models, that's Poisson distribution, then discrete choice models. One thing is your estimation. For estimation, more or less we are using MLE methodology. Second thing is how we interpret the results. For interpret, as I told you yesterday, for logit and all these models, either you can use, for these cases you can use log of odds or odds ratio, or if it are multiple logit, and you can use this relative risk ratio or marginal effects. These are for the interpretation part. For probit cases, marginal effects, probabilities. You can also calculate the probabilities for these models as well. For Tobit, estimation is MLE, interpretation same like OLS you have to do. For interpretation, there is no problem for the Tobit model because it's not like this odds ratio or marginal effects. No, you can simply explain as we explain OLS models. So these two things which make these models different from the OLS is estimation process and interpretation process. Then yes, there are other differences, like in place of F ratio, now we are using likelihood ratio test with a chi-square distribution. Then for individual significance, at many places we have to use Z-test, but in Tobit case, you have to use T-test. If I'm not wrong, Tobit model, yeah, T-test. You can see this difference that in Tobit model, it's same like the OLS, this T-test. So these are the differences in these models from simple OLS models that we studied earlier. So this is your Tobit model, censored case. Anyone, any doubt in this case? In Tobit model, you can also calculate this marginal changes or probabilities, whatever you want. Probabilities, marginal changes, that choice is yours. Is it clear, or anyone have any doubt? So I hope now you understand this Tobit model as well. So now in your research, those of you who are working with primary data or secondary data for cross-sectional analysis, so now you can also think about in these terms, that is there any situation where you can apply this ML methodology, Logit or Probit or Tobit model, then you can apply these methods as well in your models. From my experience, what I had experienced is that generally the conception among the researchers is that those who don't have this rigorous courseworks in MPhils and PhDs, that we have this descriptive stat as a methodology and then regression. Yeah, obviously this correlation as regression, they have only one thing in their mind, is that OLS, that take any quantitative variable as a dependent and then independent variables and apply this regression, check significance of overall model as well individual significance, hypothesis testing, and R square, and then in the last interpret the results. Only those have a time series, they know that there are some problems with these models, so they study other methodologies which are concerned with the time series. But only few I have seen that they understand that even in the cross-sectional data analysis, now these, because of these softwares, these all other possible means, if I'm not wrong, on an average right now, there are, I think, nearby 20 models, 20 different models with MLE methodology are possible with these softwares. I don't have this idea that with R software and eViews and SPSS that they also have included this count and DCM models in the new versions or not. But as far as Stata is concerned, Stata now have added these all applied microeconometrics as well as macroeconomics, this DSG models, dynamic stochastic general equilibrium models, that are also included in now in this Stata. So for these two now, it's really important, really useful. This Stata software is really useful. Okay. Tool if you can apply in your research. Okay, so For this particular part now, it's done from my side. Means uh, I know there are n number of other models as well, and therefore they are also useful and important. But due to time constraint, I can't take those models in this particular series. Whenever I'll take those models in next or in upcoming series, you can join and you can uh, learn those models as well. Or you have now you have some idea. So if any other workshop which you might think that is quite useful and they are teaching properly these models, you can apply that. When you have some basic knowledge and second time when you apply some workshops, that always give you some extra advantage. And now you have this applied part as well, because generally first we study derivations, theories, and then we go for applied and so on. So this particular all this process will help you. But I suggest you that please go through MLE methodology. Those of you who were absent in that particular class, that how MLE estimate these results. Just for practice, do some derivation for logit and probit model. If possible for Tobit, for all the methodology same, just some algebra of this calculus is required to solve those equations. You will get the estimate, so that you have some idea in background that okay, what is the function in this particular. For OLS, we know that function is this summation you had square, right? But not in the MLE. We have here we have a log likelihood that we have to maximize. So try to do some derivation for these two models, then you will get some in-depth knowledge about the estimation process. And be careful of when you interpret your results. And yes, before applying the models, as I told you in the model specification as well, your functional form, inclusion and exclusion of the variables, that needs to be, you have to cross check that criteria. Then this likelihood ratio test, pseudo R square, you have to take care. For individual significance T and Z test, uh, check your sample size, that is it applicable. If you're applying MLE methodology, the main problem is with the sample size. If you have a small sample size, don't apply MLE methodology, because definitely others won't know the actual results what you have done. But in the MLE methodology, this is very important. The results are consistent, efficient only with the asymptotically only with the OLS results if your sample size is sufficiently large. Then you can say that yes, your results are more or less unbiased, efficient, and consistent, but not with the small sample. So that you have to take care. I told you this solution that if you have a sample problem, try to club the categories. That's the one solution for these cases. So okay, yeah, one small concept that I want to, yeah, this count data, the basic methodology is given in this Gujarati. This Poisson distribution they use. So here you can apply. Again, now you can see the parameter is non-linear, so we have to apply a MLE methodology. This likelihood ratio test we are using in place of F ratio for overload model significance. This diagram is given in a green. So I was studying this particular chapter yesterday, so I found this graph quite useful, so that you can get this idea that what this likelihood ratio is set. In all these cases, we are saying whether model is statistically significant or not on the basis of likelihood ratio. So for likelihood ratio, it is actually, let's suppose we have a two models, restricted model, then we added some predictors, and then this overall model. Then if we compare this log likelihoods of these two models, now since this likelihood is again a double log, so the values are generally negative. So in negative, whatever will give you a minimum negative value, that's a maximize. So that's why you see in these iterative procedures, this minimum last value, the minimum negative value is the maximized value. It's because double logs, log of likelihood. So that's why this is in the negative terms. So this is now this likelihood ratio test compare results with restrictive model with this the final model you apply. Gap between these two likelihoods If it's statistically significant, then model is significant. If it's not, means if this gap is low, that means it's not useful. Opposite of that is the Wald test that generally compare results with the zero parameter null hypothesis like we do in t-test and f-test. And with that, the parameter values that we observed in the model. So Wald test is based upon that null hypothesis, compare parameters from the zero base. So these two tests are totally different, but you can use any of these two tests. There is also Lagrange multiplier. So these three tests you can apply for overall model significance. Due to time constraint, I can't take everything in this particular series. So, but yes, you can find some material internet. You can go with that. And Stata software will have these all the functions: Lagrange multiplier test, likelihood ratio test, Wald test. Also, I'll share with you this likelihood example. This idea statistical concept and this particular institute is really helpful to get some idea. Yeah, this likelihood ratio test. It generally compare this likelihood of two models and it's a double log. That's why you will get this value in a negative and it try to maximize it. So this is likelihood ratio test. Then Wald test is generally compare results from the zero parameter. It's quite different than likelihood, but you can use it as well in place of likelihood ratio. Then Lagrange multiplier. So I'll share this content with you. They also have given this diagram. Wald test is between the coefficients, likelihood ratio test between this gap between these likelihood ratios for the restrictive and full predictor models, final model. So you can use any of these. So now maximum is no limit, means minimum is always the limit. Yes, I have this limited that what content I'll teach you in particular duration. So this is a truncated case, right? Yes, there is a limitation. Some minimum we have, but maximum there is no limit. So now it's depend upon you how you study these models and how you apply these models in your research. I suggest you don't just give up with these models, even if you are not applying. They are really useful models these days, and coming years you will also find these courses in all Indian university because that's the way the things first they come from, because in economic literature, as we know, it's from the Europe. Maximum is from the Europe. So now for them, these things are now common in all the courses. But now since we are also in a line, that's what our system is. So in coming years, definitely we will also study these things. So now that choice is yours. So there are approximately 20 models only with the MLE methodology as a qualitative response model, and they're quite useful. Okay, so this is done now. This is done with the qualitative response model. Next, we will take this simultaneous equation case from Monday onward. So anyone, any doubt so far? I hope these last 4 or 5 lectures are useful for all of you. Yes, I know if by chance you are doing it first time, then try to understand that this process, only estimation process and interpretation, only these two things you have to take care. Derivation, you know, now software will estimate the parameter. That's not your headache at all, but at least just you have some basic idea in the background. And as I told you, if you read some really standard textbooks about these topics, even with simple tabulations, you can understand these processes because these ratios are just in a frequency forms. So even that explain this whole idea in interpretation part. Okay, so from my side it's done. Anyone, any doubt in this particular part? Qualitative dependent variable case. Although in next year I'm going to take it in more detail. I'm going to add this count models and discrete choice models because for commerce and preference studies, these are really important, discrete choice models. And now in Stata 16, they have added all these models. So now we can do some estimations with that as well. Any doubt? In our classes, generally teachers say that no doubt means everything is like bouncers in a cricket. Either you won't get anything or you are not interested. Means that's what our teachers always say when we don't have a doubt. So these are not easy things. They take a time. Okay, so then we will meet on Monday. Content, this IDRE website, as I told you, commands, you will get all maximum 90% commands from this particular website. And not only for this Stata software, but for our SPSS as well and SAS as well. I think, yeah, for R as well. It's open software now they have added. And in all the concepts, in the end, they give some references. These textbooks are, if you buy, they're quite expensive, but if you try to find some PDFs in internet, maybe these old editions, you will find some PDF formats in a book, in the internet. So you just download and read these chapters. You will get some more idea about these older concepts. Because in usual econometrics books, they are not given. These details are not available. You can take any econometric books. These other details, Gujarati and all, they have written that this beyond the scope of this book. Only Green has attempted these. In Green, you will get all the matrix format. That's a little bit difficult to understand because then you have to need to practice these theorems with the matrix methods and calculus, and with the matrix only. So that take a time. Okay, so thank you so much. Now we will meet on Monday with simultaneous equation models.